Greetings my friends, Ben here. Welcome to part 2 of Build Your Own Outdoor Table. I apologise for the delay, been a bit busy but we're getting there. Now I've also got to apologise for something else. A couple of bits of footage in this video don't look quite right. That's because I replaced the top on my rolling bench with white melamine, not knowing that the white top and the fluorescent tubes above me would have a terrible reaction in timing, and it's got some kind of weird pulsating thing. I've also got other news at the end of this quick video, and we'll get to that shortly, I guess. I'll see you soon. Now, at the end of the last video, we had put the frame together, measured it up, screwed it in, all nice and good. We'd also cut the legs to the right size. So I also said to you, if you wanted to leave it here and finish off your table, you can without doing anything else. And I meant it. So I've got my friends, Stevie Two Hands, to come and help me jig this thing up. So we grab the frame, clamp the legs to where they're going to be, and all you'd have to do to finish this table off at this point is put one noggin or one bit of support across the middle of the frame. That's all you'd have to do, and grab decking. So we use 90 by 22 treated pine decking. It's the cheapest you can get. 2.4 meters is about $7 something. All right, and because of this table's width, it was 10 boards. That's all it took. 10 bits of decking, and all you have to do is put one on one side, screw it in, put one on the other, screw it in, and work your way inwards to the middle, because you might find you'll have to cut one down the middle and make it a weird size, but you can do that easy, right? But while you're doing that, make sure you take measurements from one side to the other every time you put a deck down, because you may need to adjust things on the fly, because these decking boards, cheap, but also can be quite bendy. So muscle it into shape if you have to. Leave little gaps where you need to make up space, but at the end of it, it'll look like a basic table. And if that's all you really wanted to do here, then you're all good to go. Here's a quick little picture of what it would look like. Just imagine the decks go all the way across. It's a very straightforward table, and that's it. But we're not going down that road. The first thing we're going to do this time around is sand down the legs. Now you want them to be nice and smooth. They come smooth enough from Bunnings, but they can always be better. So first I hit it with a bit of 120 sandpaper, and then I hit it with a bit of 240. Makes them nice and smooth. Then you're going to lay your frame down and measure the inside of the frame one into the other, so we know how long to cut the decking. Now that you've got your measurements, head over to the table saw and slosh a bit of 90 by 22 outdoor treated pine decking to your desired length. Then turn around and whack it inside your frame. Make sure it's nice and tight up against each end, not so tight that it might bend the timber, but it needs to be tight because this timber will, of course, shrink when it's dry. Treated pine is inherently wet when you buy it. That's the treatment, because it's outdoor timber. And once you cut two of those and you've got them sitting inside your frame nicely, measure the ends on the inside to find out how wide your middle joint is going to be. And once you figure that out, then measure from one end to the other on the sides and mark where the exact middle is. So that's where you put your noggin. Now measure up once more, make your cut, and make sure it's sitting nice and firm. Measure twice, cut once. After it's in there nice and tight, take a pencil and run a pencil line across the bottom part that's hanging over the edge. Mark it off, and then hit it with a bit of pencil there with a couple of scratches just to remind yourself that that's the bit that's got to come off, because we want the whole thing sitting flush. Now I want you to take that tin we've just marked and cut off the bit that we scribbled on, because that's completely unnecessary. Now I want you to do this 5 times. I'm using a table saw. That's just because I've got one. If you don't, you can do this with any kind of saw you want. Doesn't matter. Do it with a jigsaw. It'll take a while, but you'll get the same result. Now grab that timber and go back inside of the table and place it inside the frame so it's sitting hard against the decking. Push down, get it all nice and firm so everything's square, the frame square to the table, you've got your decking square to the table, and it will all fit together beautifully. Put it where you marked halfway in the table is, and then screw it in. I use 2 screws, one long one at the bottom to hold it in place, and then one shorter one just below that to keep it from turning in any way whatsoever. Now I want you to repeat this twice more. So there's one in the middle, and then from the one you've made in the middle, measure from there to the end and put one in the middle of that. And that's 95% of the framing done. You've only got a couple of small things left to do, but I'll show you next time. So grab your table so far, lift it up, pull out the decking from under it, flip it over, and then you'll be able to sit your decking in the frame the way it was, upside down of course, and get a real sense of what the table's going to look like. Nice, chic, flat, and now you understand why we cut the framing underneath so it sits flush. Of course you don't have to, you can just put it on top of the decking like we did at the start of the video, and then put another piece of 90 by 22 decking around the outside, and it'll give exactly the same look. But I wanted to go a step further. Well, that's it for that episode. Once again, sorry it took so long, it's been flat out. In the next episode, we'll whack the legs on, put the rest of the top on, and get this thing going. Now, I want to talk to you about something. Making this video, and the first video got views, a few thousand views actually, far more than I thought it would get. And talking to a friend of mine, Ben, he said, you know, there's something in this, and I said to him, there's something in this, because things don't have to be as expensive as they seem, and you, dads, mums, whatever, you can build this stuff with the tools you've got in your backyard, in your shed, on your deck. It doesn't matter. You can do it, and you should, because things are just, prices are going crazy. But raw timber itself and screws, they're never that expensive. Oh, and I will put the price list up for this table at the end of the next video. So I've started a new YouTube channel, nothing to do with gaming. It's called Dad Builds. Mum builds, it's Dad Builds, but anyone can do it. I would love your support. If you want to click the link to the YouTube channel, there's YouTube, Instagram, there's a Facebook page, and I want to know what you would like to build. I'm going to do everything. I'm also going to get professional builders in to give me a hand and give us some hints and tips on how to do things properly. Of course, there's some things you can't do. Plumbing, electrical, don't do it yourself. Get a professional. It's just not worth the pain and misery you go through. Your insurance won't be covered if you try and do a repair. But we can do things. If you don't know how to fix like something simple, like fixing fence palings, building planter boxes for gardens, we can do all that stuff together. So please get on board the Dad Builders train. Much love, and I'll see you guys really soon. Peace.